Welcome to Irish Football Weekly, where we talk Notre Dame football here on The Grueling Truth. My name is Josh Benjamin, one of the hosts. My co-host, Tony Hunter, is a former tight end for the Irish teams from 1979 to 1982. You can find our shows on our homepage, which is www.thegruelingtruth.net. You can also find us on tons of other media places within the internet: Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, Google Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, etc., etc. Well, we're here to talk Irish football. Tony, let's do this thing. How you doing today?
I am doing great, Josh. One thing I do want to point out before we even get started.
Sure.
I bet you Brian Kelly plays a heck of a poker game, man, because he gave us no clue that he was going to make a quarterback change in that last game against Wake Forest. I started hearing grumblings of it like right before kickoff that he may be deciding to go with go away from Brandon Wimbush and let Book get the start. But he ended up starting Book in that game, and Book ended up playing outstanding. The offense looked better than we've looked all year long, and but I just thought it was kind of funny when I first heard that he may be making a change at quarterback. I said, no way. I haven't heard anything about this all week. No way he's going to make a change this close to game time. And he did it. He sure did.
Yeah, and I want to point out that there's a possibility that he may have told the two, and maybe no one else, maybe not even the team, or maybe he did tell the team and they kind of kept it hush-hush and didn't do too many things at practice that when the media was around. But
yeah.
I don't know. I agree. I think that he did definitely play his cards right and played them way late. And
oh, yeah. Had you heard anything during the week? Had you heard anything about a quarterback change during the week?
I heard some rumors on Thursday, so 2 days before the game, but nothing was set in stone. And according to what I had found out, it was just talks and possibilities, but it wasn't set in stone. And maybe it was by then, and we just didn't know it, and that's very possible as well. But Kelly did play his cards right.
He did. He really did, and I think that's smart. I don't think you want to give the team you're playing against advance notice that you're going to make a quarterback change so they can make all the adjustments on defense and that. Hey, I don't blame him. Just keep it quiet and let them make the adjustments once they see what's going on the field.
I don't disagree, and I also think that could only happen 1 week, and that was last week as we turn into a huge week here, and we'll get to that in just a second. But to quickly touch on the game against Wake Forest, obviously a big scoring game. Ian Book played really well, 25 of 34 for 325 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he had 3 rushing touchdowns as well. He had 10 rushes for 47 yards. So overall, playing-wise, Ian Book looks solid. Maybe not at the first series or 2, maybe even 3, but he played pretty well overall.
Yeah, I thought he played well. I thought he looked confident out there. 25 of 34 for 325 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hey, that's a heck of a performance, especially your first time out for the season. And so far Notre Dame's our schedule has been friendly to us. We haven't been playing really good football offensively, and we've been able to come away with victories each and every week, despite our offense. Our defense has been playing championship football for the most part, and with Book coming in and playing the way he did, it really gave our offense a real shout of enthusiasm, and I tell you, that puts us right there with a good defense. As I say, defense wins championships. I think we had the defense there to win a championship. Now we have an offense there to complement them.
Well, to kind of go along what we've talked about maybe the last few weeks about the offense is diversity and getting the ball to different people. And this past weekend, that happened. So there were 10 different receivers that caught the ball this past weekend. That's something that hasn't really happened as far as that many. It's in double digits. It's been 6 or 7 usually, but now it's up to 10, and that's outstanding.
Oh, yeah, it really is. It really is outstanding. And that really gives you a feel for that lets you know that Ian Book is really comfortable with what he's seeing, the coverages that he's seeing, the different places he needs to go with, the adjustments he needs to make based on the coverages that he's seeing. And he's spreading that football around. And I tell you what, as a former receiver, when you see a quarterback can get you that ball on any snap, that makes you get out there and run your pattern that much harder. It makes you that much more enthused about running your pattern. Hey, everybody gets fed. Everybody's getting fed in that offense. And I'd like to see Boykin be a little more effective. I think he ended up catching one pass for maybe 6 yards. I'd like to see him get more involved. I think he's a really talented player. I'd like to see him get more involved. But as far as getting 10 receivers involved in a passing game, that's excellent. That's outstanding, and I just hope we keep that up because it's really hard to defend when you're getting the ball to that many different people, and then you have a guy running the ball like Armstrong did, and not to mention Dexter Williams comes back next week.
Yes, and to continue to kind of brag about this offense a little bit, you kind of started out where I wanted to or ended where I wanted to start off, which is Jafar Armstrong. He had almost 10 yards a carry. Well, he had actually 12, but it was 8 for 98, and that's outstanding. And all the other guys had above 4.3 yard average, which is really, really good out of all the different rushers, which there's about 7 of them. And with adding Dexter Williams to that equation, that's going to bring a whole new dynamic, and that's just another game plan that Stanford's going to have to worry about that defense anyway, for planning on another guy that can run the ball, can catch the ball, that can be explosive. And it's going to be an interesting game coming up here with those guys, plus Dexter Williams coming back to be on the field.
And if Dexter Williams needed any other motivation than to come back and play well on his own, Armstrong is running the ball well enough to make him want to go out there and really put some good runs together. And but I've always liked Dexter Williams. I think he plays hard. I think he runs physical. I think he has a quickness. I really like him, and I think he's going to make a big difference in our offense. And with the 1-2 punch of him and Armstrong, and you got Ian Bach really throwing the football, spreading the football around, I tell you that our offense could really be tough to deal with. And with our defense playing championship football, I think we're in good shape. I think we're in good shape headed into the halfway mark of the season, or heading towards the halfway mark of the season. We're starting to play good football. We just need to keep it up. And this Stanford game, I mean, just to kind of speak on that a little bit, this will definitely be the best team that we've played against so far. I think they're ranked 7 coming into this game, and they're well coached, and it'll be a big test. It will be a good barometer as to where we stand. This will show where we stand as a football team, how good we are or aren't against Stanford. They had a tough game last week. I think it was up in Oregon, where they won in overtime. But they won't be tired. They won't be fatigued coming into Notre Dame. They'll be fired up, and they'll be trying to beat Notre Dame at home. Like I said, they're well coached, and it'll be a big test for Notre Dame.
Well, to kind of jump to that game, the good part is the fact that they're coming off a win where they actually should have lost that game. I watched the end of that game. Oregon had a chance to shut the clock down and take a knee, and they didn't. They decided to run the ball, and they fumbled, and eventually in overtime, and Stanford won, which is heartbreaking at home to Oregon. But that may be a thing where it makes this game bigger. It makes it more important, obviously. It's a rivalry game, too. And I think having that home crowd, which is very well a necessity in this case, I think that we as a Notre Dame have a very good opportunity to show what this program's all about at this point in the season with how confident they played this past week.
No question about it. Stanford's going to be – that's the best – this will be the best team we've played all year. And this is a legitimate top 10 football team, very well coached, and we're going to get a chance to see where we really stand as a football team. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I know, like I said, I think Stanford's coming off a Pac-12 game where they had to go in overtime to win the game. But I don't think it's going to be a factor as far as fatigue is concerned coming into Notre Dame, because Notre Dame's always a big game, maybe the biggest game on anybody's schedule, especially at home. People want to beat Notre Dame at home. And so Stanford will be ready, but I think Notre Dame will be ready. And I think we just played our best game of the season last week. And it's going to be interesting to watch. I think it's going to be an outstanding football game.
Well, on their side, they have arguably the best running back in the nation, Bryce Love, Heisman hopeful here, and they have a quarterback who's gotten better and better throughout this year, KJ Costello. He played really well against Oregon on the road and was able to complete passes to different guys. And with the coaching that they have with Coach David Shaw there, like you mentioned before, it's going to be a battle, and they have beaten the Irish 4 of the last 5 times they've played, and I think it's time to change that trend with the Irish.
Oh, most definitely time to change that trend. Stanford has put out some really good football players. I can't think of his name right now, but he plays running back for the Carolina Panthers.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh man, I watched this kid run the football, and he is tough. I like the way he runs the football. He's smart. He can do a lot of different things. He can run it. He can catch it. You can tell that he received some great coaching at Stanford. These guys, when they come in, you mentioned they have one of the best running backs in the country. Believe it, he'll show that. He'll show that on Saturday against Notre Dame, which gives our defense a lot of motivation, because this will be the biggest test that our defense has had to face so far this year. And like I said, I think we have a championship defense. It'll be time to show it this weekend against Stanford, because those guys are going to bring it on offense.
I think that's going to be the most intriguing portion of the game, in my opinion, is the Notre Dame defense led by Alohi Gilman, Tevin Coney, Tranquill, all those guys going up against an All-American in Bryce Love and a guy who's gotten better in KJ Costello in that offense. And to see how that plays out will be a really awesome atmosphere, in my opinion, if you're at the game. And I just think that's going to be really neat to see those top players going up against each other and how they're going to scheme against each other and play hard-nosed football. So
yeah, and it's going to be a big game from the standpoint of quite a few recruits, prospective recruits, are going to be at this Notre Dame Stanford game. So Notre Dame wants to put on a good showing, so to make sure we're getting 4 and 5-star recruits that see a great showing from Notre Dame. So it's going to be a big game from that standpoint too, because from what I've heard, there's going to be quite a few guys that are considering coming to Notre Dame at this Notre Dame Stanford game.
Well, that goes along with their academic challenges too, that both institutions are very high recommended when it comes to the academic side. So it could sway a high school senior deciding between Stanford or Notre Dame or another Ivy League school, or some institution of that matter.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point, Josh, because Notre Dame and Stanford recruits the same kind of kid, the kid that's going to put forth the effort in the classroom as well as on a football field. And one thing I say about Notre Dame, man, when I went up there, I don't care how good you are on the football field, they expect you to get the job done in the classroom or you won't be at Notre Dame very long. That's just the way it was back then, and I believe that's the way it is now. You either get the job done in the classroom or you won't be representing Notre Dame on Saturdays on the football field. And it's that same way at Stanford.
Well, to go along with this game, if I were to ask you, Tony, what would be a couple keys for the Notre Dame offense or defense, special teams, just in general, what would be 2 or 3 things that you would say has to be done this weekend for the Irish to come off with a win?
I think Notre Dame's going to have to come out offensively and get Dexter Williams involved. Get him involved because we know Book can throw the football. We know he can throw the football. But getting Dexter Williams involved along with Armstrong will give them the type of offense that gives them a lot of diversity, and the defense is playing on the heels because they're not sure whether to expect these All-American type running backs coming out of the backfield to attack them, or to have this guy that can throw the football like Book can, have him throwing the football downfield and killing your defense that way. I just think let's get Dexter Williams involved early. Get him involved early. Keep he and Armstrong coming at that Stanford defense. And, man, I mean, if you've got a strong running game, that can wear down any defense. That can wear that old saying, Vince Lombardi, fatigue makes cowards of us all. If you've got that running game pounding away on that Stanford defense, and then mixing in the pass with Book, it could be a great afternoon for Notre Dame, and I look forward to seeing it.
Well, to kind of piggyback off what you had mentioned there, I got 3 things that I would say is very important, and this goes for both offense and defense. First of all, third down conversions, the lack thereof that we give up, and the willingness to convert on those third downs are very important on both sides of the football to continue drives and to stop drives, stop momentum, and big plays. The other thing is, you mentioned it about the running game, but I also would also say that's for the passing game as well as the trenches. You know, who's going to win in the trenches? Is it going to be the offense and defensive line for Notre Dame? Is it going to be individual matchups that they utilize to beat us or beat them, etc.? Or is it going to be a combination of linebackers coming in and being able to make plays as well within the trenches? So I think whoever wins in the trenches is also going to be very important. And then the last thing, which I kind of mentioned already, is the no big plays to change momentum obviously that's for the defensive side, but no big plays. And I think for the most part this season that defense has done a really nice job of making sure that doesn't happen. And that goes with the leadership and the ability as a team, as a unit that the defense has been doing all year.
They're going to need to stop that run. That's the first and foremost. They're going to need to stop Stanford's run game.
Yes. Totally agree with that. Totally agree. Well, let's jump right into the 3 toughest picks here. I gained a game this week on you. You went with Oregon at home, which in reality they should have won. I chose the Cardinals.
The last part of that game. They should have won that game. I was picked.
Oh, man, I don't know what they were thinking. I was like, this game's over, and they ran the ball, and the defense stripped it. So kudos to that Stanford defense, but hopefully the Notre Dame offense takes some notes and understands that they're going to try to get turnovers. So that's very important for this week. But so you're 7-5, I'm 5-7, so I'm the reciprocal of that. But we got some games coming up that are pretty good. A couple, one in the Big 12, Big 10, and then out west here. So number 12, West Virginia at number 25, Texas Tech.
Ooh, West Virginia at Texas Tech. That's a tough one. I haven't seen either one of those guys play. Texas Tech at home. I'm going to take Texas Tech at home.
Okay. Well, I'm going with West Virginia. I've watched them play a little bit. They kind of have the hot hand right now, but I'm going to pick them on the road, top 25 matchup here. I'm going to pick West Virginia. So second one here, we have number 4, The Ohio State University, going to number 9, Penn State. Who do you got?
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. Man, that's going to be a tough one because Penn State has been blowing out some really good teams. They've been beating some really good teams so far. Ohio State, this new quarterback is playing outstanding. He's surprising a lot of people, including myself. Is that at Ohio State or at Penn State?
That's at Penn State.
That's at Penn State. You know what? I'm a native Buckeye from Ohio. But I just think Penn State is playing really good football right now. I'm going to go with Penn State.
Oh, he's going up. I thought you would be with Ohio State no matter what. Okay, Penn State.
Just from what I've been hearing about Penn State, they're playing some good football right now, and I think they'll against some good competition. Just from what I've been hearing, I haven't seen Penn State this year. I've just seen highlights here and there. I haven't watched a complete game of them, but they had some pretty good competition, and they're beating everybody. So I think it'll be a tough thing for Ohio State to go into Happy Valley. I made a recruiting trip up there one time, and that's the coldest I've ever been in my life. State University Park, Pennsylvania, in the dead of winter. I think it may have been January or February at that time, and the wind howling through those mountains, just going from dorm room to dorm room, from the car, from the parking lot to the building. That was the coldest I've ever been in my life. And but they love their football up there. That place will be packed. It'll be loud. I think Ohio State has their hands full going in there to pull out a victory.
They definitely do have their hands full, but I've learned the hard way to not go against Urban Meyer, and he's on a path of destruction, of wanting just to destroy teams to prove a point, maybe, I don't know, motivation for what transpired this offseason. But I'm going to go with Ohio State, so they're going to go on the road and beat Penn State. The last game here we have number 20 BYU, who just beat Wisconsin, by the way, at Wisconsin. Number 20 BYU at number 11 Washington. So on the road again.
BYU at Washington.
Yes, sir.
Man, they just surprised the heck out of me by beating Wisconsin like that. So I'm going to have to go with BYU again. I'm going to have to go with BYU. I have a former rival of mine, Steve Wolf, who's from Cincinnati, played at St. Xavier. I played at Moeller High School. And his son, Chase, is up at Wisconsin right now. And so I've been kind of keeping an eye on Wisconsin. I was surprised to see them lose at home the way they did last week. So,
all right, well, that concludes our three toughest picks. We picked all different teams for every game, so this is going to be an interesting week, Tony, to see how this record entails. So hopefully good things for me. No offense, sorry. So we'll see.
I
but
went out on a limb on a few of those with Ohio State. I don't normally pick against Notre Dame. I mean, Ohio State. This may be the first time of our show that I've ever gone against Ohio State, but I just think Penn State is for real this year. I really do.
All right. Well, we'll find out, that's for sure. So we'll see how those games pan out. But our most important time, Irish prediction time here, Tony. Give me a score and obviously who's going to win for this week's game.
I don't think this is going to be a high score. We're not going to. I don't think that we're going to put up 56 points again. I'd say because Stanford, they're going to be good defensively. They're going to be good. I'm going to say it's going to be a 28-16 victory for Notre Dame. Our running game's going to be thrashing them. I think Book's going to have another good game passing the football. It's going to be a nice mixture of running and passing. And I think our defense is going to be flying all over out there, and they're going to stop Stanford's run. 28-16, Notre Dame wins.
All right, 28-16 it is. Mine, I'm just briefly going to say Irish is going to win by 31-30. On the last drive, Ian Book's going to lead him down. Whether it's Dexter Williams or Armstrong or Boykins, whoever is going to make a play for that Irish team, and the field will be full of Irish fans congratulating each other and doing that thing. So I say Irish 31, Stanford 30 in the last play.
Yeah. And that's the last thing I want I want to see Boykins come out and start making some big plays. We need a receiver to step up and start playing All-American type football. I'm looking for Boykin to step up.
I would agree with you there, definitely. Well, that concludes our show, Tony. Nice job today.
All right.
Well, for our listeners out there, don't forget to check out our website, thegruelingtruth.net, which has multiple shows of your liking. For example, my show, The Real Deal, plus other shows in different sports. They do such a great job there, whether it's a podcast show or an actual article. They do a very, very nice job with The Grueling Truth. So we're very thankful for them to have us on. But you can find us in multiple media such as Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and the Grueling Truth Sports Network app on iPhones. You can get that and listen and subscribe as well to any show you like on the Grueling Truth, of course. So for my co-host, Tony Hunter, this is Josh Benjamin signing off for Irish Football Weekly. Go Irish! Peace.
Go Irish.